here and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a quick and easy knotted bow headband for, you can do it any size. I'm going to be making a newborn today and giving you those measurements in the video, but you can adjust the measurements, which I will put the measurements that I personally use for the different sizes in the description, but you can make this up to an adult size headband just by making it longer. So all you're going to need is some knit fabric, scissors, and a sewing machine or serger, and let's get started. Alright, I am using this gold rib knit fabric. This is from Raspberry Creek Fabrics. It's just a basic solid. I will link it down below. They are a great place to get any type of knit fabric. They have lots of options, lots of prints, colors, and different types of fabrics. That's one of my favorite places to get fabrics. But what we're going to do is you want the stretchiest part of your fabric to be your longer end. So with a rib knit, it's pretty easy to see the lines. The stretch goes opposite, and if you are not using rib knit, you'll want to look and find your green line that it's going up and down. So I am, as I mentioned, making a newborn size, and also, as I mentioned, I will put in the description the lengths that I use for different sizes. But for a newborn size, I like to do 18 inches long. I'm gonna just cut from here. And then I like to do it 6 inches tall. And I'll use 6 inches for all of these sizes. I just find it's this size I like. If you want it to be a little bit wider, chunkier, then that's okay. You can use whatever width you want. You can just kind of play with it. You just cut out your rectangle. Alright, so let me Alright, so once you have your rectangle cut out, let me pull that off. Like I said, 18 inches wide by 6 inches. Oops, 6 inches. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to just lay our rectangle out flat like this, and we are going to take right sides together and fold it up like so, lining up our raw edges on all sides. And so what my favorite way to do this to get the best finish is, I'd like to do it on a sewing machine. I find it gives it the most stretch. If you only have a serger, that's perfectly fine. You can do it all with a serger or mix and match however you want. But what I like to do is I'll start in this end, and I use about a 1/2 inch or so seam allowance, and I like to do a straight stitch up on this end because we don't need it to stretch. So that gives us the nice cleanest straight edge on the end of that bow. And then I pivot here, and I go about 1 inch or so to a more straight stitch, and then I back stitch here, and I leave about a 1.5 inch opening, and then I jump over here, and then I switch to my stretch stitch, which I like to use a lightning bolt. I find it gives me the best stretch, and it doesn't break apart or anything if the headband gets tugged on. So then I just start here, and I do that stretch stitch, whatever you want. You can use a zigzag, whatever it may be, all the way here, again about 1 inch, and then I go switch over to my straight stitch and just go there, pivot, and back down. And that just gives some really clean finishes. But I'm going to go ahead and do that on my machine, and I will be right back. Alright, so you can see here I did my straight stitch up, pivoting here, and then I just back stitch and pick up my presser foot and just pull it forward a little bit, and then you just gotta trim that string there, and then my stretch stitch gives it very, very nice stretch. And then when I got here, I went back to my straight stitch and back around. So then what I like to do to get my nice clean finish is I trim the corners. I like to clip the corners and trim the ends. That'll just give you some really nice pointed corners there. So just trim off that excess. I do that on both sides. You want to get as close to that corner as you can without snipping it, because if you snip those threads, you will then get a hole in your headband, and you don't want that. Right, so once you have your corners clipped and trimmed, what you're going to do is you're going to come over to where you left that opening, and you're just going to flip your headband through that hole. So you're just going to pull it through, and this usually goes through pretty easily as long as you leave a big enough hole. But you don't want it to be too big. But then once you have that turned, what you're going to do is you're going to take some sort of pointy object. You can use a pen, a colored pencil, scissors, whatever. I'm just going to use these tweezers and just go in there and poke those corners out gently so you can see they lay nice. I'm going to go down and do that on the other end. And I typically do not close the hole on my headbands. I like to strategically place them so that it is in the tie, in the knot of the bow, so nobody will see it. But so now then when you go and tie that knot, your hole will be within that knot. So what I do is then you just come over here, and sometimes I like to put the seam at the bottom when I tie it. And then sometimes I like to wrap it around my leg just to give me something circular, but you're just going to overlap it here, and you're just going to tie the measurements that I gave you are for about about 1.5 inches on each bow. If you are wanting it to be bigger, a bigger bow or a chunkier knot, you will need to add some length to it, but you can just kind of play with those measurements to see. But then once you get that tied, just kind of straighten it out, and you are done, and you have the cutest little bow for any little baby or kid. All right, your bow, once you get that tied and have it laying how you would like, it is done. I did do another one just to show you what it looks like in print, and these are so cute. These are great. I love making these for gifts, for new moms, or just any little girl. You can make matching ones for mom and baby. They're just something really fun, really easy to do. You can use a lot of scraps if you have them, because it doesn't take a lot of fabric. Did put all of the different length measurements. I use the same width for all of them besides the adult, but the length measurements are in the description from newborn up to adult so that you can use those. And for adult, I just make it a little bit wider, but this is yours. You can do what you want. If you want it to be a little bit wider, you can add 1 inch or 2 to the width, and that'll change that and make it kind of a chunkier knot. You can play with it. You can make it a little bit longer to make the bow a little bit bigger. But like I said, these are just super quick and easy, and I hope that you loved them. And if you did, make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel for any future videos. Bye!